Yeah, welcome to MySQL webinar series from JPassion.com. Today's topic is backup and recovery, topic number 10. So let's get started. So we're going to actually cover 3 or 4 topics. We'll see how we can back up and restore databases, and then back up and restore tables, or just table structures or data. So let's start with the backup and restore databases. So if you want to actually back up and restore database, basically you can use MySQL dump utility command. So you say MySQL dump and your username and password and the database that you want to back up, and then you are going to give a file name, and in this case temp testdb.sql, and temp db SQL file is actually basically SQL a script file that you can actually use later on to restore. So here here you can actually create the new database. Maybe I'm going to call it testdb restored, and then you're going to set it as a default database, and then you can just source the file that you have created, and then this database will have all the tables and its contents of that database in this, so this is the database. And yeah, so this is actually at the command line, and you can also actually yeah, so this is what we have done, and we store SQL file at the command line. Yeah, so yeah, this is actually the way that you could actually also do, either you can actually within the command line or actually within the MySQL shell file. Okay, so let's actually try that. So this is the case that you are going to actually back up the restore at the command line. Okay, and this one is actually from within in the shell. Okay, so let's try that. Exercise 1. So here we're going to actually go to hands-on lab directory called the MySQL underscore backup, and then we are going to log in as a client, and then we have a test database and the table script file. So here we are going to just delete testdb file, then we're going to create a testdb database file, and then we're going to use it, and then we're basically creating employees and departments table. Okay, and then we're going to populate those departments and employees table. So let's try that. So I'm going to just copy this source file. So this is just a test data. So now if I want to actually see select and from employees, and we have 5 entries in the employees, and for departments we have 4 entries. Okay, so that's the test data that we have. So now we are going to back up and restore at the command line using the MySQL dump command line utility. So you can find out how you can use MySQL dump utility using help screen here. So at the command line, what we are going to do is we are going to capture the contents of this testdb database into temp testdb SQL file. So I'm going to just run this one at the command line. Okay. All right, so that file is created. So if I want to take a look at the contents of temp testdb SQL, this is basically SQL script file. Okay. And here, if you're going to actually run this script file yeah, so we just see the contents. And then we are going to use that script file to restore. So we are going to actually create the testdb restore database. So what we're going to do is, we are going to create a brand new database called the testdb restored. And if we set this new database as a default database, and we should not see anything, right? So we can say show tables. And so this database is empty for now. So what you're going to do now is we are going to actually use the script file using source command within the shell. So we're going to say source, source, and the file that we have created here is testdb and SQL. Oops. Let me see. I'm gonna just. Oh, I should not have the this semicolon at the end. Okay, so now the new database called the testdb restored is populated. So now we can actually take a look at all the table status of this new database using show table status from this database. And then you can see we have two tables populated, departments, and it has 4 rows, and employees also has 5 rows. So if we say select from employees. Well, first of all, let's see the tables. Show tables. And you can see we have 2 tables, and we can see the contents from employees table. Okay. All right. So you can see the new database has been populated from the script file that we have created. The next one is we are going to restore a database at the command line. Okay, so here we're going to actually create, we're going to just create another test database called the testdb restore2. Okay, and again, if you take a look at the, we'll set the default database of this new database. And if you see show tables, and we should actually see empty. Okay, so this new database that we just created doesn't have any tables. Okay, so now we are going to restore at the command line. Okay, so here what we're going to do is we are going to, if you see this command, oops, sorry, we are going to get this file to be the source into this. So we are actually restoring at the command line. So here I'm going to type this one. Okay, so now if you go to here, show tables, now we see 2 tables. So this new database has been populated by this command. Okay, I can select database, and that has the contents. All right, so let's move forward. Now, next one is, so what we have seen so far is restore the backing up database and restoring that database, the contents of that database, either within the shell or at the command line. Now we're going to actually see how we can back up and restore just table or tables. Okay, so let's actually see the presentation slide. So you specify basically the name of the table right after the database. Okay, so here we are just backing up the backup just the employees table. Okay, and then you can actually restore the source again, using the same command that you have seen. Okay, so let's do exercise 2. So here, let me just move this one. So here we are going to the backup just employees table. Okay, MySQL dump, and the SQL file that we are creating is the testdb underscore employees SQL file. Okay, so now if I take a look at the that SQL file, then you can see it just contains information, the data on the employees table. Okay, just employees table. And now we're going to actually restore the table into new database. So this is the new database that we are going to use just for testing purpose. So we created a brand new database called the testdb restore 3. And again, we're going to make it as a default database. And if you take a look at the show tables of the new database that we have created, it's empty. Okay, so now we are going to just use a source command to restore the data into this new database. So now we are going to see the contents, show tables, and we are going to see just employees table, and you should be able to see the contents from employee table. Okay, all right. So that's it. Next one is backing up and restore just table structures or just the data. So you can actually see how we can back up and restore just table structures. So what you're going to do in this case is you are going to say dash dash no data. That means it's going to just back up table structures without any data. Okay, and then you can just later on add the data, of course. Here you're going to just see the table structure, but without any data. Okay, and the last one is backing up and restore just the data. So here, you can say no create info, meaning you're not going to actually create the any information, anything regarding the table structure. So it's going to just copy, it's going to just back up the data. Okay. All right. So let's actually try the exercise 3. And that is the end of the presentation. So let's see backup and backup just the table structures. Okay. So here you're going to specify here. The command line. Okay. And so here we are going to see the contents. Okay, now we are going to create the, I'm actually looking at the wrong file. Sorry about that. So I'm actually looking at the exercise 3. So this is what okay, so that's what I was looking for, something like, okay. So here we are going to just to save the table structures. And if you take a look at the contents of the file that was just created, employees no data SQL, then you can see it's just saving the table structures. So here, you can just take a look at the contents. It's just table structures only. And now we're going to actually create a brand new database, again, testing purpose, testdb restore 4. And then we're going to make it as a default database. And again, if you say show tables, and we should see empty. Okay. Now we are going to get we're going to source the SQL file that we have created. Okay. Now we are going to see show tables. We should have just the employees table, and we can see description of the employees. And that's the description, but we should not see any contents. Okay, so there is no data because we just saved only the table structure. Okay. The next one is instead of actually saving just data structure, the table structure, now we are going to just save data only. Okay, so here you're going to say dash dash no create info. Okay, so we are going to create again SQL file with this command. And if you take a look at the contents of it, you can see it's just the dumping just the data of employees. Okay. All right. So now if we go to restore the employees. Yeah. For now we don't have any data. Yeah. So this is the one I want to actually just try it. Yeah. So we don't have anything on the employees. Now we are going to source the file so that we are now reading the data. Okay. So now if I actually see the contents of the employees table, now you can see the contents, okay? All right, so that's pretty much what I have. Yeah, today is relatively short presentation. So, okay,